Today we are discuss about DBMS methodology conceptual. You will learn about the methodology for the database design stage of the database system development life cycle for relational databases. The methodology is depicted as a bit by bit guide to the three main phases of database design, that is conceptual, logical and physical design. These are the three database design methodologies. The methodology for database design stage of the database system development life cycle for relational databases. The primary aim of each phase is as follows. First of all, conceptual database design. In database conceptual design, to build the conceptual representation of the database which has the identification of the important entities, relationships and attributes. Logical database design, to convert the conceptual representation to the logical structure of the database, which includes designing the relations. Physical database design, the third one of DBMS methodology, to decide how the logical structure is to be physically implemented as base relations in the target database management system. These are the three main methodologies of database management systems. One is conceptual database design, logical database design, physical database design. Introduction to the database design methodology. A structured approach that uses procedures, techniques, tools and documentation help to support and make possible the process of design is called design methodology. A structured approach that uses procedures, techniques, tools and documentation help to support and make possible the process of design is called design methodology. A design methodology encapsulates various phases, each containing some stages which guide the designer in the techniques suitable at each stage of the project. A design methodology also helps the designer to plan, manage, control and evaluate database development and managing projects. Furthermore, it is a planned approach for analyzing and modeling a group of requirements for a database in a standardized and ordered manner. First, conceptual database design. In this design methodology, the process of constructing a model of the data is used in an enterprise independent of all physical consideration. The conceptual database design phase starts with the formation of conceptual data model of the enterprise that is entirely independent of implementation details such as the target DBMS, use of application programs, programming languages used, hardware platform, performance issues, or any other physical deliberations. This is a conceptual database design. In this conceptual design methodology, the process of constructing a model of the data is used an enterprise independent of all physical considerations. The conceptual database design phase starts with the information of a conceptual data model of the enterprise that is entirely independent of implementation details such as the target DBMS, use of application programs, programming languages, hardware platform, performance issues, or any other physical deliberations. Critical success factors of in database design. What are the critical success factors in database design? Now, deal with the task interactively with the users as much as possible. Deal with task interactively with the users as much as possible. Follow a pre-arranged methodology throughout the data modeling process. Follow a pre-arranged methodology throughout the data modeling process. Make use of a data-driven approach. Incorporate structural and integrity considerations into the data models. Combined conceptualization, normalization, and transaction validation methods into the data modeling methodology. Use figures for representing as much of the data models as possible. Use a database design language to represent additional data semantics that cannot usually be represented in a diagram. build a data dictionary to add on the data model diagrams and the database design language. Be willing to repeat steps. These factors are constructed into methodology that is presented for database design. Conceptual database design steps are: first step is build a conceptual data model. Second step is recognize entity types. Third step is recognize the relationship types. Fourth step is identify and connect attributes with entity or relationship types. Determine attribute domains. Determine candidate primary and alternate key attributes. Consider the use of improved modeling concepts. This is optional step. Next step is check model for redundancy. Next step is validate the conceptual model against user transactions. And the last step is review the conceptual data model with user. These are the steps are used in conceptual database design. Once again I repeat: build a conceptual data model. First we build. Next, recognize entity types. Recognize the relationship types. Next step is identify and connect attributes with entity or relationship types. And another step is determine attribute domains. Next step is determine primary key, candidate key, alternate key attributes. Next step is consider the use of improved modeling concepts. Another step is check model for redundancy. Another step is validate the conceptual model against user transaction. And last step is review the conceptual data model with the user. These are the steps are used in conceptual database design. Building a conceptual data model. The first step in conceptual database design is to build one or more conceptual data replica of the data requirements of the enterprise. A conceptual data model comprises these following elements. First is entity types. Second one is types of relationship. Third is attributes and the various attribute domains. Fourth one is primary keys and alternate keys. Fifth one is integrity constraints. Sixth one is conceptual data model is maintained by documentation including ER diagrams and a data dictionary which is produced throughout the development of data model. These are the elements are following to build the conceptual data model: entity types, types of relationship, primary keys, alternate keys, integrity constraints, ER diagrams, data dictionary. These are the elements can be used in building of a conceptual data model. These are the DBMS methodologies: conceptual database design, logical database design, physical database design. The three phases are used for to maintain the DBMS methodologies. First, conceptual database design: to build the conceptual representation of the database, which has the identification of important entities, relationships, and attributes. Logical database design: to convert the conceptual representation to the logical structure of the database, which includes designing the relations. Next, physical database design. In this, to decide how the logical structure is to physically implemented in the target database management system. The conceptual database design, the process of constructing a model of the data, is used in an enterprise independent of all physical considerations. The conceptual database design phase starts with the information of conceptual data model of the enterprise. That is entirely independent of implementation details such as the target DBMS, use of application programs, programming languages used, hardware platform, performance issues, and other physical deliberations. These are the methods are used in conceptual database design. The steps of conceptual database designs are: build a conceptual data model, recognize entity types, recognize the relationship types, determine attribute domains, determine candidate primary and alternate key attributes, improved modeling concepts, model for redundancy, validate the conceptual model against user transaction, review the conceptual data model with user. These are the steps are used in conceptual database design. Thank you for watching this video.